So while the water is heating up, I am going to go ahead and explain the math behind the recipe. Hey there, welcome back to Lima Bean Living. If you are new here, my name is Emily, and you've caught us in the middle of a little series where I am trying new things while we're quarantined. In some of our previous videos, I have my husband cut my hair. You guys can maybe see how that turned out. I actually made this little Lima Bean Living shirt and designed the back. And we're doing a whole bunch more. So make sure you guys go and check out those videos when you are done with this one. But in today's video, I am going to be trying the little craze online of whipped coffee. I think it's called Dalgona coffee. And I'm actually not just a plain coffee drinker. I always have to have some type of flavor. So I'm gonna try to make like a mocha and a caramel one. So we're gonna try to fidget around and see what we like. Also, just to kind of give you guys an idea of the kind of coffee that I like to drink, I love sweet stuff. So I would get Frappuccinos from Starbucks. If I got like a caramel macchiato, I'd have some extra vanilla thrown in there. So I like things really sweet. So I'm a little nervous that this little recipe is not going to be sweet enough for me. So keep that in mind when I do my little review. If you guys drink your coffee black, it'll probably be too sweet for you. But if you guys have a sweet tooth like me, I'm hoping that this review will be pretty accurate to your taste buds. So let's get to this. To make a basic recipe of this whipped coffee, you're gonna need some instant coffee. So I picked up some of this. We got it like from the Walmart pickup. You're gonna need instant coffee, some sugar, and then some hot water. So I'm gonna go ahead and microwave this, and then I'm going to explain the math behind the recipe. It is also worth mentioning that I am planning on putting some of this caramel syrup and then chocolate syrup in 2 different batches so that we can get a feel for which tastes better and if it tastes better than just the basic coffee recipe. So while the water is heating up, I am going to go ahead and explain the math behind the recipe. Now, the recipe that I saw online calls for 2 tablespoons of instant coffee, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of really hot or boiling water. Now, if you notice, all those measurements were exactly the same. This means that our ratio for each of these ingredients is a 1:1:1 ratio. Whatever measurement we use for the instant coffee, we're also gonna use for the sugar and water. So if you wanted to make like a huge batch and you wanted to use a cup's worth of instant coffee, well then you would also need a cup of sugar and a cup of water when you're making this big batch of whipped coffee, which is really cool if you guys don't even have any basic measuring cups, or if you just want to use a regular spoon in your kitchen. You just have to make sure that the measurements are all the same across the board. Now, I don't know exactly how things are going to change when I add in the caramel or chocolate syrup, so we'll see. Maybe I will have to also add in the exact same amount for the flavor to be how I like it, which is really sweet, but I need to conduct this little experiment to figure that out. But it looks like the water has now been fully heated and we can go ahead and mix these ingredients. I have my little handy dandy hand whisk, so this will make it a lot easier on me. But if you guys just have a basic whisk, you guys can do this by hand. It's just gonna take like 8 to 10 minutes and a really good arm workout, which with how much sugar I'm probably gonna end up adding, I probably should do this by hand anyways, so I don't feel as guilty, but I'm going for a lazy Sunday feel over in this Lima Bean house, so let's get started. I'm going to begin by making the original recipe using 3 tablespoons of the instant coffee, 3 tablespoons of sugar, and 3 tablespoons of my hot water. And then I'm gonna portion up the mixture to be basic, and then caramel I'll mix in, and then chocolate in the other third. Now I am all about the iced coffee life, so I have just about 2 ounces of milk in here, and we are going to transfer over some of the just basic whipped coffee onto this little cup, and then I will make the other remaining part the chocolate and caramel. My 3 coffees are now finished. I'm gonna go ahead and just taste test the coffee part by like dipping my finger in because I'm gonna be enjoying these anyways. Like I mentioned, I put a tablespoon of the chocolate syrup in 1/3 of the coffee mixture, a tablespoon of the caramel syrup in the other third, and then left the other third blank. So here is our little whipped coffee, just the basic coffee recipe. That is very bitter. It obviously has like a little bit of sweetness, and it's not like super just plain coffee because of the sugar, but it is very bitter in my opinion. Then we got our caramel. In my opinion, it kind of tastes like the same. You don't really get a caramel sense. So obviously, if you wanted like a really strong caramel flavor, maybe adding in some more syrup or some other type of like flavoring. And then we got our mocha. There's definitely a different flavor. Can't say it's super mocha. So I'm gonna go ahead and give these guys a stir, let it mix in with the milk. Obviously it's very concentrated with the coffee, but we'll see if adding in kind of milk in the taste test makes a big difference. This is how our little mocha drink turns out when we mix it all together. It's very thick. I did want to mention that if you guys could obviously tell looking at the 3 drinks, the mocha and the caramel one isn't as whipped once you add the syrup in, and that's because you're adding in something that isn't fluffy and whipped and whatnot. If I continued to whip it with a whisk, maybe it would still be a little bit more fluffy. Obviously it wasn't like super liquidy, but it was definitely less whipped than the original recipe. It's a very thick drink. I really can't say that this tastes like a mocha to me. It does taste a little bit different from like when I just tried the basic recipe, the whipped part, but there is a definite common flavor throughout all of these drinks. Now I've got my caramel and my regular recipe. We're gonna give these guys a try kind of together and see how they compare. So the caramel one has a more enriched coffee flavor than I would say the coffee drink does. It's definitely thicker, and you can tell there's like a very slight difference, but the coffee flavor is so dominant, you guys. What I might do is go ahead and add about an ounce or 2 more of milk to each of these glasses to see if that ratio kind of makes it less of a thick drink and brings out a different flavor. I went ahead and added 2 ounces more of milk, so it's a total of 4 ounces of milk and then 1 tablespoon of each of the ingredients. This is the regular recipe, definitely not as thick as it was before. In reflecting on the recipe that I saw online, I think it called for a cup of milk for every 2 tablespoon recipes. So 4 ounces is half of a cup, and this ratio seems pretty good. So I would go ahead and stick with that ratio of milk to coffee mixture. Next for our caramel, I definitely like this one better than the original. There is a little bit more of a richness to it because of the caramel drizzle or caramel sauce. But that coffee flavor is so distinct, you guys. It's pretty much like how it smells. It's really odd because the way that the coffee smells as you're mixing it smells totally different from when you open up this guy. The instant coffee smells like you would expect like any type of brewed coffee, but when you go ahead and mix it with the sugar and the hot water and like whip it up, it has this different flavor, and that smell that you get when you're mixing it is definitely how this coffee tastes. And finally, we got our mocha. There's a slight like aftertaste or almost aftertaste of the mocha. So I gotta say, these drinks aren't bad. They're just different than I expected. I was expecting like the coffee flavor that you smell when you open up the instant coffee, but it created some new flavor as I was mixing it up. And because it's not what I was expecting, my brain and taste buds are like at a war as to whether or not I like this. I don't know if I will make more once I run out of the instant coffee. I may just use the rest of the instant coffee in like a chocolate cake recipe or something to enhance the chocolate flavor. Or I might have to fidget around with, you know, doing half as much sugar but twice as much chocolate syrup or something like that. But I'm definitely glad that I gave this a try. It's definitely been like a fad online, and I wanted to jump in and do this as part of our little series. I would definitely recommend this if you guys like trying new things, if you like a really smooth consistency. This whipped coffee definitely gives like a very thick and smooth type of a drink. So if that's something that you're into, make sure you give this a try. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys have figured out a little better like flavor combo that maybe mimics more of like a really sweet drink that you would find at Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks or something like that. Maybe it's just, I gotta give this another try and do a different flavor or do chocolate and caramel together. I really don't know, but it definitely is more bitter than the types of drinks that I would normally have, even with the chocolate and caramel syrup in the drink. So I will finish these drinks, but like I said, I don't know if I will make this tons more times or if I will just use up the instant coffee in some other type of a recipe and not actually make a coffee drink. So there you go, this whipped coffee in 3 different ways, the original mocha and caramel recipes. If you guys like watching stuff like this where I am trying something new, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't, can you give it a thumbs up anyways? Show my channel some love, and we'll catch you in the next video. You've made it to the end of the video. If you didn't know already, my name is Emily from Lima Bean Living. Welcome, we are so happy to have you. We post videos every Monday and Friday on a variety of content: lifestyle, cooking, cleaning, military life, DIYs, encouraging mathematical development in children, and so much more. Thank you so much again for watching, and until next time.